the American people stand firm in the faith which has inspired this nation from the beginning. We believe that all men have a right to equal justice under law and equal opportunity to share in the common good. We believe that all men have the right to freedom of thought and expression. We believe that all men are created equal because they are created in the image of God. From this faith, we will not be moved.
Hello and welcome to the Freedom of Thought podcast. I am your host, Paladino Joey, or Joey Awajan. Freedom of Thought is available on all of your favorite podcasting apps, and I thank each and every one of you once and always for downloading and listening to this show. It is a great pleasure to be back on board with you once again today. As yes, I'm getting to this a little bit on the later side. Unfortunately, I could have done it earlier today, but yes, our annual Easter episode. I just wanted to wish all of you a happy Easter and to celebrate that he is risen, and that's what's the point of today. Also, just it's always a fun, exciting time of year that we're getting back into spring again. It's a little bit on the colder side, unfortunately, this time around. Easter is definitely historically one of those random holidays when it comes to weather. You get freezing cold Easters, you get really warm ones, you get 70 degrees, 60 degrees. That would be up here in the Golden Valley, Minnesota, or the Twin Cities, or the upper Midwest, or wherever, the northern part of the United States, basically. It's an interesting time of year, in terms of, obviously, it can be anything. You could get snow and you could get 70. And, well, this year it's kind of like somewhere in the middle-ish, but more on the colder side, leaning more on the chillier side, like 40s, 50s-ish. Barely reached 50, but then the cold kind of took over a bit, unfortunately. So it is what it is. There was some snow flurries yesterday, but not necessarily here for a weather report or anything, though I did put a nice short video up on the Joey's Weather Spy YouTube and Instagram, just to kind of show that crisp, beautiful, fresh look that this time of year does present to us. And it's kind of that look you expect when you think of Easter, and again, the time of year, but also kind of like he is risen, and then you see the clouds in the background, and it looks kind of heavenly. So it all kind of goes together in a nice way. Not so much about Easter bunnies and eggs and chocolates and such, even though that can be kind of fun and everything. But it is kind of sad that a lot of people just think about Easter bunnies and such. They don't really care about, what Easter's really all about. It's kind of the secular crowd. Like, you have Christmas, you have Santa Claus and this and that, and they don't really think about what Christmas is about. They'd rather think about Santa Claus and candies and this and that, and getting presents and giving presents. I mean, that's good. Giving the presents is good. Okay, I suppose somebody being kind and generous to you and treating you well, it's always a wonderful thing also, as long as you are being equally kind and generous to others that time of year. But kind of this time of year as well, again, you reflect on what this is all about and all of that. And it's nice to know that there still are a lot of people that do observe Easter for what it truly is. It's nice to know that even, heck, it's crazy to think even, here in liberal Minnesota, cobalt blue Minnesota, they still close grocery stores around here. So it's pretty wild and crazy in a good way. It's still a nice thing that they still close grocery stores on Easter Sunday, though I'm sure some people would complain thinking that's ridiculous and da-da-da-da-da. Well, it's Easter, so enjoy your Easter. I hope all of you have done that. Obviously, again, this year was the first time in a long, I don't know how many years, that we didn't have lamb. It was Manhattan beef from Lunds and Byerly's. Very good. When done correctly, as in basically beef done correctly is not overcooking it, basically, at the end of the day. That's kind of like 101 when it comes to having a beef on, whenever, if it's Christmas or any kind of roast beef type of thing, like a prime rib or whatever, just don't overcook it, and you might have a shot at something pretty tasty. And, you're undercooking it, at least you can always go back and keep cooking it, that type of thing. But here I go kind of wandering off into, the holiday festivities, such, Easter festivities in this case versus the actual meaning of it. And of course, yes, you had Good Friday. A lot of people took Good Friday off, but were they really celebrating Good Friday, or did they just want a Friday off? Unfortunately, the weather stunk, so you couldn't really enjoy much on Good Friday this year in terms of being outside. But I hope people were actually observing it versus just, not wanting to work. Obviously, again, taking a higher position at work, a little bit more of a semi-supervisor role, basically right hand to the supervisor role. You witness more of that kind of behavior. But then again, you see it all the time anyway when you're there. It's just now there's more frustrations with it as well. People just not coming to work for whatever reason. Hopefully they were actually observing Good Friday versus just, again, not wanting to work. But I don't know. It's probably a mix of both. Yes, Jesus made the ultimate sacrifice, and John 3:16 and all that for God so loved the world that he gave his only begotten Son, that so whosoever believeth in him shall not perish but have everlasting life. And that's what the Lord provided for us with the sacrifice he made. The Lamb of God, the ultimate sacrifice. Like, he bore all of that pain and suffering, and not just being on the cross, but having to go to hell for 3 days after that. That's even worse than the cross, as horrible as the cross was. And it wasn't just the cross, it was all the absolute, torture before going on the cross. Just excruciating to say the least. And again, it's just like, he was so nervous about what was to come that he was sweating blood. I mean, that was in the Garden of Gethsemane when Jesus was in the garden. He spoke to his Father, God, saying, "Father, take this cup from me." That he was actually sweating blood. That's how scary the situation was, that he was going to be facing. That's how scary it was. And you can only imagine, like, what's coming. All of that unbelievable torture, not just before the cross, not just on the cross, but after the cross. Crazy, just absolutely crazy that all of that, just imagine having to go through all of that. And when it was the one who had no sin. And even Pilate knew it. And he's just like, I don't know what to do with these people. They just want him dead, I guess, no matter what we do. So crazy to say the least. Crazy to say the least, yes. But the great news is that, again, that he is risen, and that here we are, almost 2,000 years later. After he, went back up to heaven, him being Jesus, of course, went back up to heaven. It sounds like it's been 1,996 years, so this would be like 1996, in a sense. Not the year of the Chicago Bulls winning 72 games or anything, but it'd be like literally like the real 1996 in terms of when it's actually 2,000 years since Jesus left. So if it's going to be exactly 2,000, that would put us in, 2030. So everybody's talking about 2030 this and 2030 that. Well, who knows? Maybe that's so they have their crazy takeover, and if the Lord rescues us with the rapture, and then the tribulation begins short thereafter from 2030 on. So to 2037 or whatever the tribulation officially starts after the rapture. So it's going to be fascinating. I know some people listening do not believe in an actual rapture. So either way, I guess the tribulation could be starting soon, whether you believe in the rapture or not. I will say I do. Yes, I do believe in it. So I was listening to L.A. Marzulli, like I always like to. He's one of the people I listen to a lot. he's more like a guy that I'd like to have a guest on Mysterious Adventures. I did a brand new show just recently, if you want to check that out, about mountains. So yeah, do check that out. It's brand new. I just did it last night. But yeah, like he was saying, yeah, he's a believer in the rapture, and yes, so I definitely share his beliefs on that side of things. But yeah, we're getting closer and closer to the end. There's no doubt about that. Each dying day, we're getting closer and closer to the end. No matter how you look at it, technology is getting closer and closer. Heck, even just recently, this past week, we noticed that this might sound like a little thing, but little things become, when they add up, they add up. Little things add up. Forever, you live in the apartment, right? And you get your roll of quarters ready for when it's laundry day, whatever laundry day is. If it's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, whatever day it is, whenever the heck it is, you get your quarters ready. It's not going to be quarters anymore. It's going to be this, what's it called? Shine It app that we just kind of put our credit card on it. We type in the number and and then the number on the, washer or dryer, you type in that specific washer or dryer, the little sticker, the Shine It app, and then boom, there you go. Well, we're going electronic with that too. So now we're not using quarters for washers and dryers anymore in our apartment. See, it's like little things, but little things add up, don't they? Little things continue to add up. Like many years ago, I was just used to, even many, many years ago, you could see it happening in like the beginning of the 2000s, basically, or was it the late 90s into the 2000s? You go to a restaurant and they're like, just so you know, we no longer accept checks. And it's like, ooh, I remember thinking at the time, like, ooh, it's a step closer. It was a step closer. It's like basically only cash or credit now, but they probably would almost prefer credit, but only cash or credit. It's like more and more ways of paying, buying and selling, so to speak, especially buying in that case. You would, another part of it, like, is going away. You understand why people would not accept checks, because it felt like a lot of people were just thieves and frauds and such. And eventually, those excuses would lead further and further towards the ultimate goal, one way of paying, just electronically only, not even with the card. And it's definitely not with cash, as that seems to be getting pushed away more and more, because quarters, last time I checked, were cash. They're technically cash, right? Not dollars, but cash, coins. And, I guess we're not using that for washers and dryers anymore. So interesting, to say the least. At least not at that apartment, and that means if it's this apartment, this dingy old apartment I live in, it could be, it's definitely going to be probably like that in the newer apartments, the fancy newer ones that you see popping up all over the place. And that's another trend that's been going on, particularly in this town, in the general Twin Cities, but particularly, even in just the western suburbs of Minneapolis. Apartments popping up everywhere. It's becoming more and more of a thing. There's rent and not owning anything. And again, further and further evidence that we're getting closer and closer to the end. There's no doubt about it, one way or another. It's one of those New World Order type of things, whether you like it or not. I certainly don't like it. Sad to see a lot of nice restaurants get destroyed so they can just put up more apartments and this and that. So I'm going off down way too many rabbit holes, and I apologize. But again, it just shows you how close we are getting to the end times. Like I talked about, this would be technically like maybe 1996. Supposedly that's what they're saying. 1996 years since Jesus went back up to heaven. So getting close, aren't we? Potentially to the exact mark of 2,000 years. Not sure if it's going to be exact or not. Who knows? Who knows? Who knows? But just telling you, we're, in that general area, and technology is definitely getting closer and closer to where it would need to be for a New World Order. So New World Order means like the end and the tribulation, everything. It just does. It just does. So I just hope everyone out there listening, all 10 of you, basically, right? Had yourself a happy Easter. I really do. And that, I would just continue to pray for you. Continue to pray for me as well, if you could, for just, being able to get through the days at work and to plant more and more seeds so that people, maybe those seeds can turn into something someday. Like you've seen seeds, you plant a seed, be it You go from not liking somebody and them not liking you. You just plant little seeds, and then years later, all of a sudden, you're not enemies anymore, or something like that. Or just in general, people start listening to what you're saying versus things that they in the past would never listen to. And then all of a sudden, people start really listening, and then all of a sudden they get saved. And it's seeds like that. They get saved. They receive the Lord. They receive Jesus as their Lord and Savior. And that's definitely something that we're, all of us, hoping that we can all be a part of one way or another. A planter, a waterer, or a harvester. We all have a different role. It's one of those three. I often see myself as more of a planter, a seed planter, and that's kind of what this show is, kind of like planting seeds out there. Like I talked about those interesting dream that I had not too long, about 2 years, it was the fall of 24, about there, fall, late summer, I think it was the early fall of 24, where it's like I was going down this stream and it felt like the wind was getting more and more harsh and more crazy. And I was in just this little boat with, I thought it was paddles. I don't know if it was paddle. I think it was. Yeah, I was just rowing a boat by myself, and the wind just kept getting worse and worse and worse and worse and worse and worse. And I was like, you got to be kidding. What is going on? Why am I? But I just kept going. Like, just keep going. Stay the course. And then it's like the whole time, as bad as it got, I didn't feel anything at all. Like not even an ounce of the wind, even though it was blowing like crazy. And it's like normally you think, oh my God, I'm going to fall in and I'm who knows, I might drown. This is really dangerous. But I didn't feel anything. No matter how harsh it got, it's like everything was going to be okay, no matter what, it seemed like. And it seems kind of like that's kind of what's going on in the world right now. And I kind of interpreted that at the time, that things, no matter how bad things get, God's going to protect us. And it's going to kind of be like that. Like, God will protect us no matter how scary and harsh things get around us, that we'll be okay. And that's kind of what I saw in that dream at the time. And, on Easter Sunday today in 2026, we're definitely seeing more and more of that. Obviously, we're affected by the gas prices and such with this war going on in Iran. But here we are. I mean, we're getting through it. Nothing's easy around us. And sometimes it's scary, and sometimes you get mad and when you see it and everything. But the good news is, just don't panic. I guess that's kind of the message. Just don't panic. Don't panic. You see stock prices going down, don't panic, don't sell. That kind of stuff. It's going to be okay, and just keep praying. Keep praying about it. If God tells you something different, then follow God. Follow God, not just some podcaster in Golden Valley, Minnesota. At the end of the day. So with all of that said, I just want to wish you again a wonderful continued spring. I hope again you had a wonderful Easter. God bless you. Please put a 5-star rating for the show if you could. Share it around with your friends, especially people that might actually be interested in a show like this. They won't listen and be like, this clown this is the last thing I want to listen to. But hopefully, it can be a fruitful show for maybe your friends and colleagues and relatives out there that would appreciate a show like this, possibly. Like, okay, you should listen, that type of thing. If you'd be willing to do that, I can't thank you enough in advance with that said. So, again, have yourself a wonderful, if you're listening to this and it's still Easter, have yourself a wonderful rest of Easter Sunday. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.